Daf Yomi, Tractate Sanhedrin. Last day we're going to say this, God willing, in Sanhedrin for quite some time, about another 7.5 years. In the Daf Yomi system, that is. You can always come back to any day, but the time is 3:03 p.m. Israel Standard Time, 1500 hours, 1503 Israel Standard Time. And God willing, we're going to finish Sanhedrin today. Daf 113a, final Daf of Sanhedrin. Top of the page with the words Vile Pirke, the Tanan. Halakuach bekesef maaser shenitma yifadeh Kerab Yehuda de Amari Kaveri Hahi my Iria Irnidahas Afilu de Almanami. The Gemara challenges, let him redeem that which was purchased with the second tithe money and became ritually impure, as we learned in a Mishnah, Maser Sheni 3:10. An item that is purchased with second tithe money and that became ritually impure shall be redeemed. The Gemara answers, the Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who says an item that is purchased with second tithe money and that became ritually impure shall be buried. It may no longer be redeemed. The Gemara asks, if so, and the Mishnah is referring to an item purchased with second tithe money that became ritually impure, why did the Mishnah cite this halacha specifically in the case of an idolatrous city? The same would hold true even in cities in general as well. As in Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, the halacha there too is that the item is buried. Ela l'oilam b'tahor uchigon b'nafal mechitzos uchidrava d'amarav mechitzos echod d'eraisa niklot d'rabanan v'chi gazur rabanan ki isanu mechitzos ki lesinahu l'mechitzos lo. Rather, actually the case in the Mishnah is with regard to pure second tithe produce of an idolatrous city that was taken into Jerusalem. And it is a case where the walls of Jerusalem then fell. And this halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rava, as Rava says. The capacity of the wall of Jerusalem to enable one to partake of second tithe produce is by Torah law. By contrast, the capacity of the wall of Jerusalem to admit second tithe produce, in the sense that one enters Jerusalem, the produce assumes the status of the property of the Most High and may no longer be redeemed, is by rabbinic law, and the case where the sages issue the decree that entry into Jerusalem admits the produce is where the wall is intact. However, in a case where the wall is not intact, no, the sages do not issue a decree, and the second tithe remains the spoils of the idolatrous city. Kisvei kodesh yiganzu mimas nisin delo kerabi Eliezer d'Tanya. Rabbi Eliezer omer kol ir שיש בה אפילו מזוזה אחס, איננו נאסיס עיר הנידחס, שנאמר, ושרפת באש את העיר, את כל שללה כליל, היכד איכה מזוזה לא אפשר, דכתיב לא תעשו כן אלא שמן וככם. The Mishnah teaches sacred scrolls must be interpreted. The Gemara comments, the halacha cited in the Mishnah is not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, even though the Gospel said it's always according to Eliezer. But okay. Eliezer, as it is taught in Braita, that Eliezer says, any city in which there's even one mezuzah is not rendered an idolatrous city, that means that Shemayim agrees with that. Any city in which there is even one mezuzah is not rendered an idolatrous city, as it is stated, and you shall burn it with fire, both the city and its spoils, entirely for the Lord your God. Deuteronomy 13:17. In a city where there is mezuzah, it is not possible to burn all its spoils. As is written, you shall not do so to the Lord your God. Deuteronomy 12:4, from which is derived that it's prohibited to destroy an item upon which the name of God appears. Rabbi Shimon Omer, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'chule, Lema B'de Rabbi Avin, Amar Rabbi Ila, Kamiflegi Te'amar Rabbi Avin, Amar Rabbi Ila, Kol Makom She'ata Moseh Klal, Be'oseh Uprat, Ba'aseh, Uprat Be'lo Aseh, Ve'lo Taseh, En Danin Oto B'chlal Uprat. The Mishnah teaches that Rabbi Shimon says, the Holy One, blessed be He, says, if you implement judgment on an idolatrous city, I ascribe you credit as though you have sacrificed an entire burnt offering before me. And Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yosef clearly disagree as to whether one may convert the ruins of the idolatrous city into gardens and orchards. The Gemara posits, let us say that it is with regard to the statement of Rabbi Avin that Rabbi Elah says that these Tanaim disagree. As Rabbi Avin says, that Rabbi Elah says, anywhere that you find a generalization formulated as a positive mitzvah followed by a detail formulated as a prohibition, one does not deduce from it that the generalization includes only the detail based on the hermeneutical principle of a generalization and a detail. Rather, one interprets them as two independent halachot. Demar Isla de Rabbi Avin, Umar Lesle de Rabbi Avin. On the basis, say, that the dispute is that one sage, Rabbi Yosef Lili, is of the opinion that the ruling is in accordance with the opinion. Rabbi Avin and one sage, Rabbi Akiva, is of the opinion that the ruling is not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Avin. Rabbi Yosef Lili holds that the positive mitzvah, and it shall be a heap forever, and the succeeding prohibition, it shall not be built again, Deuteronomy 13:17, are independent mitzvah. The result is that the city must remain a heap and may not be converted into gardens and orchards. Rabbi Akiva employs the hermeneutical principle and uses that generalization, and it shall be a heap forever, means he deduces that the generalization, and it shall be a heap forever, means only that it shall not be built again. But converting the ruins of the idolatrous city into gardens and orchards is permitted. Lo, dekuli alma, islahu, derabi avin, b'cha kumifligi. Mar savar od legamri mashma, umar savar od lich ma shehayata eina nivnet avar neset hi ganot uparadesi. The Gemara rejects this. No, that everyone is of the opinion that the ruling is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Avin, and here they disagree about this. One sage basically holds that the term again indicates that it is entirely prohibited to rebuild it at all. And one sage, Rabbi Akiva, holds that the term again indicates that it is not built to be as it was, but it may be converted into orchards and gardens and orchards. Tanu Abanan, the sages taught in Nebuchadnezzar, Hayuba ilanos tidushin azoin mechubarin mutarin shiril hacheres בין תלושין בין מחוברים אסורים. מה עיר אחרת? אמר רבי יחיסדא יריחו. יכסיף הייתה העיר חרם השם, ישמע יהושע. ויהי לאמור ארור האיש לפני השם אשר יקום, ובנה את העיר הזאת, את יריחו בבחורו יסדנה, ובצעירו יציב דלתיה. The sages taught in Brighton, in a case where there were trees in the city, and if they are detached from the ground, they are forbidden and must be burned as the spoils of an idolatrous city. If they are attached to the ground, they are permitted, meaning they're not destroyed. By contrast, the trees of the city, whether detached or attached, are forbidden. The Gemara asks, to what is the Brisa referring with the phrase another city? Because it says, this is a reference to Jericho, as is written, and the city shall be devoted, and it and all that it is in it to the Lord. And Joshua charged them at the time of the oath, saying, cursed be the man before the Lord that rises up to build this city, Jericho. He shall lay its foundation with his firstborn, and with his youngest son he shall set up the gates of it. Joshua 6:17-26. Tanya lo yiricho Hashem yiracheres, v'lo yiracheres Hashem yiricho. Diksev banachiel beit ha'eli et yiricho ba'aviram bechoro yesada u'v'siguv tziro hitziv delateha. It's sounded right that this includes a prohibition not to build Jericho, even after changing its name to the name of another city, and not to build another city after giving it the name Jericho. As is written, Hiel the Bethelite built Jericho with Abiram his firstborn, and he laid his foundation, and with his young son Seguv he set up his gates. It's 1 Kings 16:34. Tanya Abiram Bechoro Rasha lo haya lo lilmod v'segu siro hayahu lilmod. It's not bright from the death of Abiram, his firstborn, the wicked. It was not incumbent upon him to learn not to build Jericho, as Abiram's death could be attributed to chance. But with the death of Seguv, his young son, it was incumbent upon him to learn that it was due to Joshua's curse that they died. Wow. Continuing. Aviram u'Seguv my avud my kamar hachi kamar. Aviram bechoro hayalo lilmod lo surasha b'Seguv tziro imash b'shiner b'Aviram bechoro en yodea sheSeguv tziro ma'atzama lo mar Seguv tziro lamed shehaya mekaber v'olech Aviram aSeguv. The Gemara asks, what did Aviram and Seguv do? What did they do that they are characterized as wicked? And what is the Brisa saying? The Gemara answers that this is what the Brisa is saying. From the death of Aviram his firstborn, that wicked Hail should have learned about the cause of death of Seguv, his young son, by inference from that which is stated with Abiram his firstborn. Do I not know that Seguv was his young son? Rather, what is the meaning when the verse states his young son Seguv? It teaches that he gradually buried all his sons from Abiram through Seguv, and he should have suspected that Joshua's curse caused the deaths. Achav ששושבינה הבאת היהו ואליהו למשול בשלמה בית האמה יחיד וכמר דירמה לקהילת יהושע החילת לא יריחו על שם עיר אחרת ולא עיר אחרת על שם יריחו אמר לה אליהו אמר לה השתה לבת דמשה לא קם מקיימה דכסיב Esantem avantem luksiv v'charav Hashem lachem Yisrael Shemayim v'goymer V'lo yugav rogim la'avod zoe al kol telem v'telem V'lo sheyiglav yitral v'azil mizgad le. Leviatha Yehoshua Talmidei Mikaim. Ahab was Hiel's close friend. Was Hiel's close friend. Hold on. Where was I? His young son Seguv. Oh, okay. Achab was Hiel's close friend and groomsman. He and Elijah came to inquire about Hiel's welfare in the house of mourning. Hiel sat and said, perhaps when Joshua cursed, this is what he cursed: not to build Jericho, even after changing its name to the name of another city, not to build another city, after giving the name Jericho. Elijah said to him, yes, that is the curse. Ahab says to Elijah, now the curse of Moses is not fulfilled. It is written, and you go astray and worship other gods. And it is written, then the Lord's anger will flare up against you, and he will close the heavens, and there will be no rain. Deuteronomy 11, 16, and 17. And that man, referring to himself, established an object of idol worship on each and every furrow in the kingdom of Israel, and the rain is so plentiful that it is not allowed him to go worship it. Will the curse of his student Joshua be fulfilled? Miyad, Vayomer Eliyahu Tishbi Mitishaveh Gilad Chai Hashem Elokei Yisrael Im Yetar Umatar Ba'amer Hamle Aklida Demithra, because the verse relates Elijah's reaction immediately. And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said to Ahab, as the Lord God of Israel lives, before whom I stand, there shall not be a dew or rain in these years, but according to my word. 1 Kings 17:1. Elijah prayed for mercy, and they gave him the keys to the rainfall, enabling him to dictate when it would rain, and he arose and went. Vayidaber Hashem Moshe Lemor, Lech mizeh upenita sham. Taking a little break. Excuse me. And where were we? Okay, Vayihi Devar Hashem elav lemor, Lech mizeh upenita lecha ked magniftar tebenachal kuris ve'oiverim. Let's see, where were we? Let's go back a little bit to the word miyad. Miyad vayomer Eliyahu tishbi mitoshevei Gilad Chai Hashem Elohei Yisrael im yetal v'gomer ba'yirachamei v'yahavule aklida debitra v'kam v'azal. The verse relates Elijah's reaction immediately. Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said to Ahab, as the Lord God of Israel lives, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew or rain in these years, but according to my word. 1 Kings 17:1. Elijah prayed for mercy, and they gave him the key to rainfall, enabling him to dictate when it would rain, and he arose and went. Vayihi Devar Hashem elav lemor, Lech mizeh upenita lecha ked magniftar tebenachal kuris ve'oivrim meviim lo lechem ubasar baboker ve'gomer mehecha amar Yehuda merav mibe tabache de'achav vayihi miketz yamim v'vashanach al kilo ויגשם בארץ כיוון נחזה ליגת זרע מעלמא כתיב ויהי דבר השם אליו לאמור קום לך צרפתה. It is written about Elijah, and the word of the Lord came to him, saying, Go from here and turn eastward and hide yourself by Wadi Cherith, Nachal Krith. And the ravens brought in bread and meat in the morning. 1 Kings 17, 2, 3 through 6. 2 through 3 and 6. The Gemara asks, from where did they bring in bread and meat? Rabbi Yehuda says that Rav says that they brought it from the slaughterhouse of Achav. And it is written, and it came to pass after some days the wadi dried up because there was no rain in the land. 1 Kings 17:7. Since God saw that there is suffering in the world, Elijah was insensitive to it. It is written, and the word of the Lord came to him, saying, arise, go to Zarephath. 1 Kings 17:9. To initiate a chain of events that would lead Elijah to return to the key to rainfall to God. Return the key to rainfall to God. Uketi v'hiachar v'melech ala ben isha ba'alat bayit barach hamel mitanle aklida d'chiyat hametim amri le shlosh miftachos lo nimseru לשליח של חיה ושל גשמים ושל תחיית המעזים יאמרו שתיים ביד תלמיד ואחד ביד הרב הייתי הושקין היי דכתיב לך הראה אל אחר ואת נמתה. And it is written, and it came to pass after these matters that the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, became sick. 1 Kings 17:7. Elijah prayed for mercy, for God to give him the key to the resurrection of the dead. He said to him from heaven, 3 keys were not typically passed to an agent: the key to a woman in childbirth, the key to rainfall, and the key to the resurrection of the dead. You already have the key to rainfall. Do you also request the key to the resurrection of the dead? People will say 2 keys are in the possession of the student and 1 key is in the possession of the master. Bring me this key to rainfall and take this key to the resurrection of the dead. Due to Elijah's request, he was forced to revoke his oath, as is written, go appear before Ahab and I will give rain. 1 Kings 18:1. Dara shavu galila kamei de Rav Chizda mashal d'Eliyahu lama hadavar domeh legavra ditarke legale bi'abde limaftache. A certain Galilean taught before Rav Chizda. There is a parable for the actions of Elijah. To what is this matter comparable? It is comparable to a man who slammed his door and lost his key. Elijah first prevented the rain from falling and then no longer had possession to the key to enable it to fall again. Darash Rabbi Yossi B'Tzipori Abba Eliyahu. Rabbi Yossi of Tzipori taught Father Elijah, a differential and affectionate characterization for Elijah the prophet.